Right, good afternoon everyone. Welcome to the second episode of In the Scrum. Jacques here from Sportycast, and today I've got my good friend Phillip back. He was part of the first episode of In the Scrum. Phillip, welcome back. Good to see you, buddy. How you been doing?
Been good. Living in a world that's very dangerous at the moment.
Yes.
Global pandemic going on.
Yes.
Still striving, pushing forward, and living the dream.
Yeah, the coronavirus has taken the sports industries with storm. You could call it storm, or should we call it a hurricane?
Taking it by force. It's more taking everything by force because almost everything has been cancelled.
Yeah, it's crazy, eh? But anyways, we're going to go more the positive route today. We're going to be talking UAE Rugby, local rugby.
Local is Lekker.
Yeah, local is Lekker. As you all know, Phillip plays rugby in the UAE. He's also played in South Africa, and we're basically going to compare the two industries with each other. We're also going to talk about the growth within the sport in the UAE, and just get a better understanding, because me as a fan of rugby, I don't really know much what's going on in the UAE because I don't play. I haven't played for a really long time. I think I hanged up the boots when I was 19, so I think that was a good idea if you look at my legs.
Yeah.
So
I think the decision for you to hang up your boots was probably the best choice you've ever
I
made.
agree completely. I think I'll stick to coaching.
I rate you'll be a decent scrum half.
But yeah, back to serious things. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. As you guys can see, it's going to be a good show. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff, and yeah, look forward to it, and look forward to the rest of the show.
Of course, very exciting.
Brilliant. Right, welcome back, guys. We're going to talk local rugby, UAE Rugby, yeah, with Phillip. Phillip, just quickly tell our fans what position you play, what team you play for here in the UAE, how long you've been playing. Just give a quick short description of what you do, and if you do play rugby.
Luckily enough, I do play rugby. I currently play for the Dubai Exciles, the oldest and most successful rugby club in the UAE.
Okay.
The position that I play at hooker. I've also played various of other positions, but hooker is my main position.
If I look at you, I'd think you're a prop or something, mate.
No.
How do you move around being hooker?
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Just joking, mate.
No,
that's all muscle there, right, mate, there.
This is all love. This is love, 100% pure love. So all in all, I've been playing rugby now, going on 20 years. Next year would be the big 20, probably the last season, next season as well. But yeah, I've played various of leagues, from the third division in South Africa all the way to Super League A, which is the top division in South Africa.
Okay.
I've played in all sorts of different leagues here in the UAE, from social rugby all the way through to competitive rugby. So that is it's in a nutshell.
And currently, so how long have you been playing in the UAE for?
Next season would be my fourth season.
Fourth season. You've only played for one club?
I've played for two.
Two clubs. Okay. So he jumps fences from time to time. Okay.
Now, everybody has that one off-season mistake.
Yeah. So it was a mistake. Is that what it was?
Oh, no.
So we won't mention the club you played for, but is there any reason why you left the club?
No, you see, the thing is, like, I like to experience. When I first came to the UAE, obviously I came to play rugby.
Okay.
I wanted to experience the whole rugby culture, and I didn't just want to stay with one club.
Okay.
So my first season I spent with the Exiles. The second season I went to the Hurricanes. Two, of course, awesome clubs, great bunch of lads. But I just felt that in terms of team atmosphere, obviously majority of the Exiles being South African players, I felt more at home at the Exiles than I did at the Hurricanes, where the Hurricanes, there's more British players there. So nothing to them. The Hurricanes are awesome team, awesome bunch of lads. I just felt that I fitted in a bit more at the Exiles. Apart from that, I've also played, whenever I play social rugby, like 10s or 7s, I play for the Woestijn Boere, which is a team.
Oh yeah, my cousin played for them.
Exactly,
yeah. They're quite well known under the South African population here in the UAE.
Well, it is the Woestijn Boere.
Yeah. So
the funniest thing actually, when you play for them on the day and you play at the 7s tournament or at the 10s, and most of the commentators that commentate, they don't know how to pronounce it. So instead of saying Woestijn Boere, they'll be like Western Boers. it's always a cracker.
Western Boers.
It is.
Oh, right. So okay, so you've been playing. So it's basically 3 clubs you've played for, but I'm assuming the Woestijn Boere is more like a social club.
Social club, yes. So 2 clubs competitively, and then 1 club social.
Okay.
And then I've also played. Unfortunately, there was a tragedy a few years ago at Sharjah Tens, where a rugby player lost his life on the field.
Okay.
So Saracens and Harlequins had a memorial match for that player that year. So I played at Flyer for Saracens in that game as well. It was just a social game.
And how did you play fly off? How did that get to?
Well, interesting fact. I didn't always use
fact,
to,
so it's not fiction. This is the actual
fact. I didn't always.
This actually happens.
Like this. I was much lighter back then. I was playing scrum off as my preferred position, and obviously, if you play scrum off, you can switch to fly off as well.
Yeah.
So at that time in my life, when I was quite a few kgs lighter, less lovable. So competitively 2 clubs, socially 2 clubs.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, as you said earlier, the older you get, the more love you gain.
Exactly,
and unfortunately, that's just how life is. But very interesting. You've now been with the Exiles for how long?
It's my 3rd season with the Exiles.
So 1 season with Hurricanes, 1 season for Exiles. Well, 3 seasons for Exiles. Right. So looking forward, just to give the fans out there a little bit more of an understanding, because I think when it comes to the UAE Rugby, like I said earlier, with me, I don't really play anymore, so don't really know much because nothing gets televised and things like that.
Did you ever used to play?
Tried, yeah. It was good distributing the ball, kicking the ball, and but as you know,
if I look at you, I would think you're maybe a flyer for a scrum off.
I'm a nice breather. Yeah, I don't like. I kick the ball, I distribute the ball, but I don't get tackled, and I don't make tackles.
I think guys actually made a few tackles in the day.
Yeah, until I realized that it's better to not get hit. Yeah, and hit.
No, so I can honestly vouch for that now. Next season being my 20th season that I've played rugby, obviously my last season as I'm retiring at the end of the next year. It does take a toll on your body.
I can imagine. It's such a physical game. So going forward, just give us an idea of the format. Okay, the format. Is there any school leagues, or is it the same as South Africa, where you've got your schools that play, and then you've got your youth clubs league, so your under 9s, your under 7s, your under 11s, 13s, 15s, 19s. Is it pretty much the same? And how does the format work? How many teams are there that play? Well, talking now about the top league. I don't know what they call it. I think it's like West Asia Division and Division 1.
So how it works is, first to answer your question about the school rugby, there is a school rugby where all the schools compete against each other. But then you also have a club level rugby, where each club has got their own mini and youth academies. So you've got players ranging from under 7 all the way through to under 19s at various clubs. This season, the Exiles were lucky enough to win majority of the younger leagues.
You're not just saying that, eh?
No. We've actually had it was an amazing season for the Exiles.
Okay.
Our under 19s were dominant throughout the season. I think our under 12s won their respective leagues in the A and B league. If I'm not mistaken, our under 16s as well. So
good year for your club.
It was really a good year. I think we also won the HSBC mini and youth tournaments.
Oh yes, I heard about that. The HSBC is quite a big tournament, hey, for you guys. It's one of the bigger tournaments. Obviously, you spoke about a little bit about the sevens. That's also very big. Normally towards the end of the year, first week in December. A lot of people that go there. It's a fun, awesome atmosphere, fun weekend. A lot of partying, a lot of professionals.
I don't know so much about the partying, you know.
It's one big jol. Some really good rugby though as well,
It's awesome.
Some really good rugby.
It ranges from completely social rugby to to what they call the cast and the vein spun.
Yeah.
Where lads that just want to go out, toss the ball around a bit, have some fun.
I think I should play for a team like that.
Completely competitive rugby. So to get back to the leagues here in the UAE, the format that we have is you've got the West Asia Championship, which is comprised of a team from Bahrain, and then all the UAE Premiership teams here in the UAE, likes of the Exiles, the Hurricanes, the Harlequins, the Tigers, the Knights, Eagles, and then the Dragons. Then coming down from that, you've got the League One, which is all the UAE Premiership division teams. It's their second teams, but then you've also got the likes of Saracens' first team, the likes of Sand Sharks. You've got their first team, and then, as I said, all the other teams.
I'd be very surprised if you knew all the teams and all the different teams that they have within every club. That would be very impressive.
Well, okay, let's have a. No, I'm just joking. No, but there's a lot of different clubs, different leagues, and going on from that, you've got the Division 2, you've got Division 3. So the lower the division goes, it's more social rugby.
More my kind of rugby.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I just want to go around and have fun. But if you want to talk about the top level in the UAE and in West Asia generally, it's really competitive.
Okay.
I mean, the West Asia, where you travel all the way to Bahrain travels here. It's always an awesome fixture, playing Bahrain at home. Massive crowd, always a full stadium when you play there. Phenomenal atmosphere. But it is also grueling on the body.
I can imagine. And
10 weeks of just competitive rugby.
I think we'll before you get carried away, and I know you're so passionate about the rugby, and before you get carried away, we will be talking about the different divisions and how it's been going and things like that going forward. But finally, I just want to say, so pretty much the same as South African clubs. It sounds like they're run pretty much the same. The last thing I just want to touch on before we move on to the next thing of today's show is a lot of players within clubs in South Africa. If you play for the likes of Collegians, Rovers, Harlequins to an extent, but some of these guys are like semi-pro guys. They don't initially get a full salary, but they would get like match fees, they'd get like performances fees. Is this type of setup in the local rugby that gets played or is it mainly guys that work daily, go out on a weekend and just play the game because they love it?
I think that varies from club to club here.
Okay.
I mean, it is a completely competitive rugby level. I mean, you've got international players playing in this league. A lot of us get chosen to represent the national team. So in terms of players being paid, I'm not too sure about that. As I said, it varies from club to club. Majority of the players just want to play rugby, so they work full time and then they still have the grueling rugby season. So most of the lads wake up really early, have their gym session, have a full day of work, and then after that still come and do training as well, and then play games on the weekends. So it is really grueling on the body.
At the end of the day, it's for the passion.
It is.
It's the love of the game, and that's what I really love hearing, because I feel like the game has lost its passion to an extent because of financials. Yes, I understand, you got to make a living out of it, but the passion, and something that stood out for me was when South Africa won the World Cup. Go Bokke. Amazing was feeling. Just the passion, and those guys have come back. And the big question I had going forward this year was all those guys that won the World Cup, a lot of them are still they've not even reached their peak. They're up and coming. Someone like Mapimpi, and
Makazole.
He started his Super Rugby season where he has just taken a new level of standard and just showing everyone else that, listen, winning the World Cup, yes, you can't get bigger than that, but
my career doesn't stop there.
Yeah, he's got it's like a new Mapimpi, an even better Mapimpi, and he was absolutely incredible for us in the World Cup. And I can relate to that because I hear just how you talk about your rugby and the local rugby. There's a lot of passion involved there, and something that I really thought would be good for you to express to me and express to the community in the UAE and to our fans, because I think that's really important. But going forward, guys, right after the break, we will be talking about these divisions that he's been talking about. We will start off with the West Asia division. We'll talk about the Premiership. We'll talk about the Division 1. As you already heard, coronavirus has hit all sport with a bang, and it's a lot of questions. There's a lot of confusion, and hopefully Phillip can help us out more with how it's going, because if I'm not mistaken, just before we go, you guys are towards the end of your season.
We are in the finals.
Yeah.
Literally the finals left, that's it.
So it's going to be interesting to see what he comes up with. So please, guys, stay tuned. Right, welcome back, guys. Just before the break, we were talking about some local rugby and just giving you guys the format, how it works, the youth rugby within it, just a short description so you guys understand a little bit more what goes on in the rugby within the UAE. Now we're going to go through to the different divisions, and we're going to start off with the West Asia division. Now, as Phillip mentioned earlier, you got a team called Bahrain, and I think they're probably one of the most competitive teams there. You've got the Exiles, which Phillip already plays for. You've got the Hurricanes, you've got Harlequins, Dragons, Tigers, Knights. Looking at the log here, Phillip, I see Bahrain and Exiles were top of the log. I see everyone's played 12 games except for the Hurricanes and the Tigers. The reason I thought we'd talk about these tables is because you said we're getting towards the end. And something you didn't mention earlier, I also believe that you guys play one game home and one game away, and you touched on the game when you guys go to Bahrain, that it's quite physical, and the traveling that takes place, and the crowds there are quite big crowds that you play against, so the atmosphere is amazing. And I'm assuming it's pretty much the same when they come here. It's like, because I see Bahrain lost one game. Who was that game that they lost against?
They lost against the Exiles.
Was that at home?
It was an Exiles home game, yeah. So
okay, so it must be tough for them also coming here.
Yeah.
Also the traveling, the everything that comes with it, the crowd here. So based on that, it's been pretty much an even, because I assume you guys lost in Bahrain.
Yeah, so that's the only game that we lost in the West Asia Premiership.
It's either you lost 2 games yet. I don't think he wants to talk about another one.
So the other one was a fluke, but you know, we
was that maybe the Hurricanes?
No.
Oh, it wasn't the Hurricanes.
No.
Okay.
We've got a double.
I thought you didn't want to say Hurricanes because you played for them previously, and it's
we got a double against the Canes.
Heavy pill to swallow, and you know.
We got a double against the Canes.
Oh, fantastic! So I see we're towards the end now. I know you don't want me to ask this question, but I'm assuming the coronavirus. I mean, guys, this is a very serious thing going around.
It's a pandemic. It's been labeled a pandemic now.
It's very serious, and I think that's, you guys have, if I'm not mistaken, I read up that you guys have stopped all rugby games until the end of March, and then after that you guys will make a call, because you guys haven't played for the West Asia Cup yet. The final hasn't been announced.
So what happened was, obviously because of the coronavirus, all sports was halted. So we're not allowed to do any training, no games, nothing. Everything has been stopped up until the 31st of March. Now that leaves a lot of questions about what's going to happen with the West Asia final, because also there's been travel bans put in place.
You can't fly to Bahrain.
Exactly,
Bahrain, you can't fly in.
So
correct.
The final would have been played in Bahrain, against Bahrain, between the Exiles and Bahrain.
And if I'm not mistaken, you guys went there last year as well. And I'm not going to take your shine on this. I know you want to really tell everyone this story. But before I let you go, apparently it was a fantastic game.
It was. So last season was also the final played in Bahrain between the Exiles and Bahrain. It was a grueling match. Absolutely.
Very physical.
Really,
very
really
physical. I can just imagine.
Really tight game. I think when it came to around about 75 minutes, the scores were all tied. Then, if I'm not mistaken, they scored, we scored. So long story short, when it came to the final kick of the ball, on 80, the Bahrain was 2 points ahead of the Exiles, and we got a penalty on the halfway.
Okay.
And our kicker stepped up, Duran Gerber, absolutely phenomenal player, played for the likes of Italy, played for the likes of Griquas, Pumas back in South Africa.
Okay,
spent the majority of his career at Lazio in Italy. So phenomenal player. I'm getting goosebumps about this. And so he stepped up and he gave it his everything. But unfortunately on that occasion was just too short. There was actually a lot of debate about that. Did the ball go over? Did it not go over? It looked on the cameras, if you look at the replay, it looked like the ball went over, which would mean the Exiles did win. But unfortunately the on-field call was that it was just under. So
unfortunately, you know, it's hard when you get games like that. There has to be it's very exciting, it's very physical, there's a lot of passion that goes in on and off the field. Crowds going crazy, ref under enormous pressure.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, unfortunately, you have to have a loser. But this year, hopefully, we can have a rematch. And do you know where the rematch will be?
See, that's where there's a lot of confusion at the moment.
Okay.
With everything being cancelled and the travel bans being put in place, you don't know what's happening. Like, everyone's in the dark. We just literally don't know. I think the whole world at the moment is in the dark about things. I mean, if you look at not just rugby, but not just local rugby, but on an international scale, the Gallagher Premiership in England has been cancelled. The Pro 14 in Ireland has been cancelled. So there's, I think the top 14 in France has been cancelled. I'm talking under correction on that one.
Yeah.
So it is a global it's a
pandemic. Yeah, it's Juarez is they playing their game under closed doors, behind closed doors as a
same with football, the Europa League, Manchester United versus Lusk was also behind closed doors. There was nobody allowed.
I mean, you gotta do something to prevent it and things like that, and safety comes first, like you say, and hopefully the ban is until the end of March. Then they'll review everything, reassess.
So everything has been stopped until the end of March, and I'm presuming at the end of the March the big bosses would sit down.
These flies, I wish I could tackle them. Sorry.
So the big bosses would sit together and obviously make a call and see what is happening, what isn't happening, because it is quite stressful. I mean, on the players,
I can imagine.
You spent your entire season working towards winning the cup, and then you come to the final and you don't know what's happening.
It's crazy.
It's really frustrating.
It's absolutely crazy. Well, hopefully, like you say, they can get together and they can make a plan, and hopefully, you know, within time this can blow over. I do know that there is talks of that there's a possibility that the heat will kill the virus, and if that's the case, we both know how hot it gets in Dubai. Whether the rugby players will be able to play in that heat, I mean, fatigue will kick in a lot quicker. It will be they'll have to look at all possibilities and options. Right, so we're going to go over to the Premiership, and if you look at the Premiership, you got the Exiles dominating proceedings again, having only lost one game.
9 from 10.
Yeah. Hurricanes second, so I'm assuming that will be the final.
Yeah, so the final was actually supposed to take place now this coming Friday. It was going to be between the Exiles and the Hurricanes.
Okay.
Exiles home game. It's also been postponed. Exactly the same as with the West Asia final. Nobody knows what's happening. And from an Exiles standpoint, it's also really frustrating. I mean, it's both finals that we were going to play in to see who's going to win now, and you don't know what's going to happen. Is it going to turn out that the Exiles, we are so far ahead on points that they're just going to hand us the trophy, which is, you also don't want that just to be handed a trophy.
Yeah, I think it would be very, very you know, unfair, and for you guys, you know, because it is quite a disadvantage for the Hurricanes. They've also worked hard, just like
Even
you
though
guys.
we are about 5 points ahead of them.
I get that, but in a final, anything can happen.
That's
you know,
true.
so
absolutely
if
true.
I feel like both teams need an equal opportunity to win that. They both worked hard. I'm not taking anything away from you guys.
The Hurricanes has got an amazing squad this season.
Yeah.
I mean, they're also really, really strong. When the season started, you weren't too sure what was going to happen, but as the season progressed, they progressed and they just got stronger and stronger. I mean, having played for the Hurricanes, I've got massive respect for them and their coaching staff.
Okay.
I mean, you have the likes of Mark Verheim, the head coach, who's a phenomenal coach. You've got the likes of Matthew Putner, who is an ex-Welsh international player, absolutely phenomenal there. So not just them, everyone in the background, the strength and conditioning coach, also know him very, very well. He's married to one of my friends that I went to school with.
Okay.
So there's a lot of behind the scenes work that goes into the lads, and then everything just came together for them to also have a great season. So I'm really looking forward to the final between the Exiles and the Hurricanes. I think it's going to be a phenomenal one. I'm not going to be playing in that one, but I will definitely be doing the commentary for that one on the Exiles page. So
that's good. Well, keep me up to date. Would like to go and see a match. I haven't seen a match yet. I must be a bad friend because I haven't even seen him play. I've seen you play for the Woestijn Boere before, but I've not seen at the Tens, the Sharjah Tens, I think it is. Yeah, so I've seen you play there for them. But yeah, hopefully, you know, the governing body can come together and they can organize something, or you know, get something sorted out to get the game played.
At the end of the day, as you said, safety is the most important.
Yeah, no, it's very important.
So yes, it is a championship. Yes, it is a cup, but a cup has got nothing compared to somebody's life. So
exactly.
So of course you have to put the safety first. Going forward to playing it later on in the season, I don't know how that's going to work, because with the heat here, I'm not too sure.
They'll have to play. I know with the cricket, when the summer comes, the games only start at around 10 o'clock at night, and they go through till about 2 o'clock in the morning. So you might have to have like a 10 o'clock starting
but can
game.
You imagine, like I said, majority of the players who work all day long. So you got gym training in the morning, work, and then still have to go play 10 o'clock at night. I don't know if they'll do that.
Oh, well, that's why you're not part of the governing body. You don't have to make these important decisions. You just have to rock up on the field, do your thing, miss some tackles or make some tackles,
kick a few balls over,
or miss a couple.
You know, I was actually very ironically enough, because I have previously played scrum half and fly half.
Yeah.
So I did quite when I was playing for the Hurricanes. Actually, I was the kicker for the second team, and then of course for the Exiles I've kicked a bit as well. And I saw a video this morning where a guy was explaining different rugby positions, and he said props. Usually the guys in the front row that say they can kick for goal, and I was laughing because you said I look like a prop. Where when I played for UKs, then I actually did play prop, and I did kick for goal as well.
Whoa.
So. It was something to behold. It was always the funniest memory, walking up to take the kick, and the crowd is like, what's happening, why is this prop kicking? And then everyone's like, oh no, he won't get it. And then you slot a 40-45 meter goal, and then everybody goes absolutely crazy. It's an amazing
I mean, I don't know if you can remember, but there used to be an Australian rugby player, Lock, I hope I get the name wrong, John Earls.
Hope you get the name wrong, right.
I thought I was going to get it wrong. But yeah, he played lock and he kicked balls for Australia. So yeah, but as you can see, I don't play in Australia. I don't know the Australians.
Yeah, let's not go.
Let's not go there. Let's not talk about the Aussies.
Yeah, no, mate. Come on.
Let's get back to the local rugby. So, like we said, we're going to go to Division 1, and this is where Phillip has been playing his rugby this season. Phillip, just waiting for the table to come up. I see, yeah, we have Saracens. They ended up top on the log.
Yeah, no, this was actually
undefeated.
It was a tough pill to swallow in Division 1. Obviously, being the Exiles captain for the Division 1 team. The lads really put in a lot of effort, great effort, but unfortunately due to unforeseen circumstances, our last match that we were scheduled to play against Saracens, we had to forfeit, and therefore also losing points and missing out by qualification by 1 single point.
Oh,
So
shit.
it was really a tough pill to swallow, but all credit to Saracens. I mean, undefeated this season. Nobody was able to beat them. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's Saracens that was going to play Alain in the semi-finals, and then Hurricanes were going to play Sharjah Wanderers.
Okay.
But that has also now been postponed, so nobody's too sure what's happening.
Yeah, because of the coronavirus. Yeah, so you got Saracens first year on 45 points, Hurricanes 35, Amblers with 30 points. Amblers, who are they?
That's Alain.
Alain. Okay. So you got Alain playing as well. Wanderers, Sharjah.
Sharjah Wanderers.
Yeah, Sharjah and 26 points. Exiles, unfortunately, like you just mentioned, came fifth. Sharks, where are they based?
I'm not too sure. It's a Sale Sharks.
Okay.
They somewhere here in
We got the Tigers, Dragons, Harlequins, and then the Knights Eagles. Shame. I feel so sorry for the Knights Eagles because it was the first year that they actually merged together.
So they used to be correct, as you said. They used to be known as the Dubai Sports City Eagles.
Yeah.
Last season or the season before was their first season in. They just got thrown in the deep end straight into the Premiership, which I don't think was a wise call, because I mean they only had their first win this year. Their first win in 3 years, which was I'm talking about the Premier Division team now.
Yeah.
In Division 1, you used to have the likes of the Arabian Nights, them and Amblers, obviously both, not Amblers, Eagles, both struggling for numbers, decided it'd be better for them to merge together. So they decided to merge, and then unfortunately just couldn't get out of first gear. I mean, I don't think they had any victories, if I'm not mistaken. Players were really struggling. They're struggling to field teams. I know a few games against us they forfeited, so you never know what's going on. So it was really a tough blow for them. I really do hope that they pick up in the seasons to come, but they are a fairly young team. I mean, they're only about 2 years old, so as time progresses, I'm sure they'll get better as well.
Yeah, and let's hope, as you say, new to the system, and hopefully it will take them probably a couple of seasons to get a system going. Having two clubs merge into one, it's a big thing. But I'm going to elaborate on that. Does that happen quite often, where two teams merge because of numbers? As you know, the UAE is quite a nation where you have a lot of expats, especially in Dubai, where people come, they have a contract for 2 to 4 years, then leave. So there's a lot of people coming in and out all the time.
Yeah.
Teachers that might come, because a lot of PE teachers end up being rugby players and things like that. The cricket's more or less the same. That must be tough.
Yeah.
Every season having guys coming in, coming out. Or take the Exiles as an example. Do you guys have a core or set group of players that come in every year, or does it swap and change all the time?
I don't think it's just the Exiles. I mean, all teams in the UAE generally, you obviously have your majority of your players who do stay.
Okay.
So say out of your 40-man squad, you have about 15 to 20 players who's constantly there. But the main problem in the UAE, as you said, is players come and go and leave. So not just us, all the rugby clubs do struggle for numbers. I mean, like you said, people come here, they finish their contracts and they leave again. So it's really hard as well. But the nice thing is now, where you've got the feeder system coming through with the minis and the youths, we have a lot of schoolboys that finish now. Then they play for a while, but then most of them also go out of country to study.
They study,
so
yeah.
You also lose a lot of players there. So I think just here in general, that's going to always be a problem up until such a time when rugby is actually professionalized here. I mean, at the moment it's not professional rugby. You don't really get paid to play. You mentioned that earlier. Even though you did get selected from the team to play national level, so it is professional to a certain degree. But if you're talking in terms of keeping players here, if you are a player, for example, let's say me, I'm a sports coach, so I'm playing for the Exiles now, but let's say I get a good coaching opportunity in Japan, and I get offered good money there, of course I'm going to go there.
Yeah, obviously.
So, whereas if they make rugby professional here, and you have a contract to the club itself, where the club is contracting you, there's more chance of players staying.
Okay. And on that note, we're going to take a quick break, see if we can get rid of all these flies. Hi guys, welcome back to In the Scrum. I'm here with Phillip, and we're talking UAE Rugby, local rugby, because local rugby is Lekker Rugby. We got a new thing there.
Local is lekker.
That's brilliant. So yeah, just before the break we were talking about rugby development, and we're going to go into that now. Phillip, rugby development is quite a big thing, and with us being in the UAE, is there any local players that play rugby within the UAE?
Yeah, no, of course, not as many as we would like. Obviously,
when I mention local players, sorry, I mean Arab
Emiratis.
Emiratis.
Yeah, no, there's not as many as we would like. There's obviously a few here and there, but the majority players here are big into football. Football is very big here.
Yes.
So at the moment there isn't as many as we would like, but there is still some. I mean, you have the likes of the UAE Shaheen team, which is an all Emirati team, where they're trying to get the interest up for that a bit. You have a lot of Arab players that do play in various of teams. I mean, I know the Hurricanes have got a player by the name of Kazi. I don't know how to pronounce it. An amazing player.
What position does he play?
He's a loose forward. Absolutely phenomenal.
Okay.
Really big, strong ball carrier.
And he's locally born?
I'm not too sure where he's born. He is an Arab. I'm just not too sure where he was born. I think, I'm talking uncorrection, he might be an Emirati, but I'm not too sure.
Okay.
But a lot of clubs are trying to get that through now, where obviously we would love to have more Emiratis, and not just Emiratis, just Arabs in general playing rugby. I mean, it's a phenomenal sport, and we'd like to get more and more people involved.
I think rugby development within any country is important, and I think what you're saying, and I like to hear that the clubs are really trying to get Emiratis to start playing, and I think if they do it from the youngsters up, it will be really good for the UAE rugby going forward in the next couple of years, because all growth starts from the roots and going up.
It's also really nice to see, sorry to interrupt you
no
there,
problem,
with the national team. It's also nice to see more and more Emiratis making the national team. I mean, you of course, the national team is composed of a lot of expats, but each year there's about 5 or 6 Emirati guys that makes the team as well. So there's also nice to see that as the years go on, the number of Emiratis in the national squad also increases, which is also really good to see.
And it's amazing to have a role model. I mean, you look at a different sport, but you look at Khabib, you know, Khabib. It is Khabib in Emiratis and
I don't like him very much.
Khabib, he's very big in that community.
You're gonna try to pronounce his surname?
Oh no, not even gonna try.
Nurmagomedov.
Yeah. Sorry for that, guys, but yeah, it's very hard. And then you've got someone like Mo Salah.
Oh, Mo Salah.
But you see, it takes someone like that. You said earlier that UAE football or soccer is quite big here. Yeah. And I think he plays a big part in that. Yes, he's Egyptian born, but he's an Arab. And I think it's very important to have someone like that, a brand ambassador. And I think if the clubs work together and they get these players, like you said, that player from the Hurricanes, which is absolutely amazing, it just takes that one player to take the sport to the next level. Yeah. Because as a youngster, they look up to these guys.
Exactly. Yeah.
And they want to be like them. And I think if you can get that one star, I think it's going to be really good going forward for the sport, going forward for the nation. And I can already see there's a lot of passion within the UAE, and I can see that the growth, they're going into the right direction.
Yeah, they are definitely.
I almost said we, but I haven't played in years.
No, they're definitely going in the right direction. I mean, rugby did fall off a few years ago when the national team got relegated from tier 1 to a tier 3 team, and recently we got promoted again, where I think in the world rankings we went from being like 80th to being like 45th now, or something around that. So it is
I'll check that up for you.
There we go, you can have a look there.
Have a look for you while you carry on.
It is definitely a growth aspect that is coming in. And the thing is, we want to incorporate rugby from a young level. That's why the likes of the Exiles has got, where we're starting rugby for children as early as 3 years old. We've got many and youth that do rugby, but a lot of clubs are starting from the young age. And it's not just Emiratis, we want to get everyone involved in rugby. I mean, it's phenomenal. Rugby is on the uprise in the country. Well, when viruses don't stop
64th currently.
64th. See, so we went up from 80th to 64th in the world rankings, and for a team who nobody really knows about to go up and compete at that level, it's absolutely phenomenal. I mean, one of my dreams, I don't know if it's going to happen in my lifetime, but I would absolutely love to see the UAE play in a World Cup. It is one of my dreams. I would absolutely love that because I love this country. It's an amazing country. I love the rugby in this country. I love everything about this country, and if we can just get more people involved in rugby and get more people to invest in rugby, I think rugby can be a very, very big and successful sport in the country.
And I think investing in that sport and the sport, I think it's really good to invest in. And like you've been saying, you've only said some good things about the rugby, which is absolutely amazing. And this is why I thought the show would be good to get you on board, so people out there, because I don't think people know much about the rugby, and just to give them a more idea of what's going on, and that the leagues that are here are actually quality leagues and things like that.
And it's not just male leagues that we have some female leagues as well.
Brilliant.
You've got 2 female divisions as well. We have teams the likes of the Hurricanes. Their female team is the best in the country at the moment. The Tigers have got a female team.
So unfortunately you guys are not there.
Actually the Exiles from next season, we are also incorporating a senior women's team.
Oh really? So you haven't had one?
We had one up until 2009, and then it fell away, and then now
you're bringing it back. That's absolutely fantastic news.
Now the women's, how it works with them is they play 10 aside, so they have 10s tournaments, and then also 7s tournaments. So they don't have 15 man style of play. For them it's 10s and 7s, and I think every single week they have a tournament in a different region of the UAE. For example, if I'm not mistaken, now on the not this weekend, last weekend was supposed to be the finals as well for the women's team, because one of my colleagues plays for the Tigers, and it got cancelled.
Yeah, unfortunately there's nothing you can do about that. Hey, it's one of those things. Right guys, when we come back we're gonna close off the show. We're gonna be comparing UAE rugby with South African club rugby, and see how they compare with each other, and how the club level is, physicality, things like that. So stay tuned, and hope you guys have been enjoying the show so far. Hope you enjoy all the information that Philip's been giving, and see you guys soon. As you can see, we've moved a little bit more towards the fire. We're going to have a Lekker braai, because we're talking Lekker Rugby,
Lekker braai,
local rugby, and we're heading towards the end of the show. We're going to compare South African club rugby with the rugby that gets played here in the UAE, and the reason we're going to do that is because Phillip has played in South Africa and he's played in the UAE, and that's why we've got these 2 wonderful jerseys here. We've got the Exile jersey, and we've got Primrose.
So Primrose is the club that I played for in South Africa before I came to the UAE.
Okay.
So as I said, I played in various different leagues in South Africa. 13 for Pinetown Raiders, played first team for UKZN, and then of course I played in Super League A for Primrose.
Okay.
Over here in the UAE, If I have to compare the two leagues, I'm just going to compare the two top divisions. So the Premiership here and then the Super League A in South Africa. Both, of course, grueling competitions. However, I would say that the standard of rugby here is bigger than there. Even though over there we were contracted under Western Province, even though we were paid to play rugby there, here we are not. But here it's more physical. I mean, obviously you have a lot of big names that play in this league. The likes, as I mentioned, Duran Kharbe. You've got John Buertes who plays here. I mean, Fabian Jurix, I played against him a few seasons ago.
Okay.
So there's, of course, big names that also play in the league here. In terms of rugby standard, I think you can compare the UAE Premiership. I think the top teams like the Exiles and maybe the Hurricanes would give a few of the Currie Cup First Division teams a run for their money. The likes of the Leopards, I think will definitely beat them. The Falker, who have recently moved over to Malaysia. I don't know what happened there. Apparently they're playing rugby in Malaysia now. So I think the UAE in general, rugby is a lot tougher than the club rugby level in South Africa. But the reason why I think that is obviously after club rugby you have the likes of the Vodacom Cup, the likes of the Currie Cup, whereas here you don't. You just have club rugby and then international duty. So I think that has a big factor as well.
I don't know much about club rugby because, as you all know, I hung my boots up at the age of 19. That was the best decision ever. As you can see, I still have my skinny legs. So, but I do have a couple of mates that played for College Rovers, Collegians. They were semi-pro players, so what would happen, they would play for the club and they would play Vodacom Cup, as you mentioned before.
The Gold Cup is also there from
the Gold Cup. So Gold Cup is quite a big competition where they take all the top teams in all the provinces and they end up playing against each other to see who's the best club in South Africa. So you see, within South Africa, I think if you look at all the different leagues, there's a lot of leagues to play. There's a lot of exposure for players to get recognized. I think because it's still an up and coming sport and they're trying to grow it and they're trying to get a lot of Emiratis to play the sport. I think there's a lot of work still to be done with the leagues and stuff. But as you mentioned earlier today, there's a lot of leagues as it is. You've got local teams.
There's five leagues in total. 6.
You just don't have the provinces. So you don't have, we have all 7 Emirates playing against each other. But I think UAE Rugby is in the right direction.
Definitely,
I think there's a lot of room for growth. And I think if they get the structures right, systems in place, I think there's a bright future for the UAE. UAE is only 48 years old, so they still have a bright future ahead. But looking
interesting facts actually, the Exiles were around before the UAE.
Yeah, I know there's a couple of clubs that were around before that. So if I had to take College Rovers or Collegians, those are the top teams in Durban where we're from. If you look at other teams,
like Rosberg and Paula's, they're really good.
You look at Hamilton's.
Hammies,
they're quite good.
Played against those boys a few times.
So would you say the Gold Cup is pretty much the same as the Premiership, or would you say it's the West Asia?
Maybe I'd say it's similar to the West Asia. Just simply as here in the UAE, we do travel around, but then we travel internationally to Bahrain.
Okay.
Whereas South Africa is obviously a lot bigger than the UAE. So I think if you can compare, it would be similar to the Gold Cup.
Okay. And I think what's good for the UAE, or as they call it, Yalla Rugby.
Yalla Rugby, that's just
that's where you get all the information from.
That's all the information.
So, but if you look at it, big benefit for the UAE is professional players, ex-professional players like Mike Phillips. My wife is a massive fan of the guy. I don't know because of his rugby or because of his looks.
I don't know. That guy's a tall scrum half, man. He's so tall.
But I know with her being a Welsh supporter, and I know she knows him. She doesn't know him, but she used to watch him and absolutely likes the way he played rugby. She's really big into her Welsh rugby, so Yeah, you got him. You've got, there's a guy that used to play for Fiji. He's quite big in the UAE Rugby as it is.
Apollo.
Yes.
Apollo, he's the UAE national team coach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Pirelli or
yeah.
yeah.
So you have Apollo Pirelli. You've got Matthew Putin, as I previously mentioned, Jock Bernardi,
Okay.
who also played in South Africa for South Africa A. He played for the Bulls a few times. So those are the likes of the coaching staff here. Then in terms of players, as I mentioned, you have the likes of Fabian Juris, who played here. Emil Schaefers, who's our second team coach at the moment, he also played for the Cheetahs a few years ago. You've got John Burtis, who played over in Wales and now plays locally and internationally for the UAE. You have Gio Furi, who plays locally and internationally as well. So there is, all in all, quite a few big names in the league. You just can't believe the quality of players that are here. It's phenomenal.
I think, and that's what makes it so great about this place, is that if you look at experience, it's got plenty.
And they're great mentors.
And exactly, and they're from all over the world.
Yeah.
So you've got Southern Hemisphere guys, Northern Hemisphere guys. They can bring all of that together, and I think if you look forward to years to come, I've been here for about 4 years, and you've been here for around
Going on 4 years.
4 years, and from what I've heard you said today and what you said in the past about the rugby, it's got a bright future.
Yeah.
And I think it would be very wrong of us to compare South Africa to the UAE, because South Africa structures have been in place for a long time.
Like I said, they've got the professional clubs who your clubs feed it through to the professional clubs, whereas here we don't have that yet.
Yeah.
I'm going to say yet, with hopes of maybe in future.
I also think if you look at the school rugby, right, which I've got quite a good background of being in the school system, coaching in the school system. I personally feel if you compare the schools, and I think this is where maybe the UAE is falling short, is that they don't have the luxury of fantastic schools that produce fantastic players. We've got the Craven Week, you've got the under 13s, under 16s, under 18s, you've got the under 19 baby box. So the structure is placed.
Yeah.
The school rugby, if you look at the school rugby, it's competitive. I mean, you look at primary school, already they've got boarding houses. They start getting people to come sponsor
play
them
rugby, to
and
rugby
go play
school, yeah.
at a primary level.
Yeah.
Kids basically
Talk
play in
about
schools is kids basically play in a school to have fun. Where there, it's become like, I wouldn't say semi-professional, because you can't really say that because they don't really get paid. But it's become like they're already looking forward to the next 5 years, the next 10 years. So I think,
and it's very competitive in South Africa.
It's very competitive.
Where schools are poaching other players. I mean, there's two, we can't name the names now, but there's two schools in Durban that just cut ties because the one school was poaching the
oh yeah,
other
there's
school.
a big story about that.
Players playing under 13, but they're actually under 17. It was
my ex school is in the newspaper, so but that's for another episode. We can't give you guys all the juicy details, but and that's what happens when it becomes too competitive. And I'm going to go back to what I said in the beginning of the show, is I love the passion. I think if you look at South Africa, I think the passion is being lost in school level rugby. Yes, it's hard. Yes, you look at those high school, the Beeldtrofee. You look at that, I don't know if it's called the Beeldtrofee anymore, but you look at Great College. One thing that's also good for exposure for the younger ones is they show all these big schools playing against each other before a massive Super Rugby game. Yeah. Something that they don't do here.
I remember when I was in school, that happened with us. Port Natal between Richards Bay before the Sharks and Cheetahs.
Yeah. So you see, the kids get that kind of recognition. Now, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing?
I think it's great.
I think that's another topic for another day. But what I can say, and before we get these lovely burger patties on the braai,
I need some more loving.
I think we can't really compare, but what we can say is the passion here is fantastic for the game. The youth is there in the club level. I think if they do something in the schools and they make it a little bit more competitive.
Like schools here, they do have their first teams and they do also play tens.
But
They've
it's
got
not
certain
as
tournaments.
competitive.
Yeah.
Like I look at the cricket, right? And if you had to take an academy side and you take a cricket school side, the academy side will run over them. The clubs here are stronger than the schools. Where in South Africa, I don't think it's the same way. I think the schools will be stronger than the clubs.
Yeah.
Because it's
schools-
because of recognition.
Exactly, because you go to certain schools to be recognized.
Exactly.
You go to a club just to play and have fun. It's not the other way around anymore.
So maybe they're doing the right thing because getting them to pick at the right time and things like that. And maybe when it becomes of a more professional, or the UAE jump into the top 30, you know, and maybe make a World Cup,
Oh, that would be
you know,
amazing.
then we will start
Absolutely amazing.
being able to say, right, are they on the right track? I think they are on the right track. But yeah, guys, it's been really good. And after the break, we're just going to close off the show and say thank you to Phillip for all the knowledge he's given us today. It's been great having him here. So yeah, see you guys after the break. Guys, welcome back. We're getting towards the end of the show. Finally, we'd just like to say thank you to Phillip for coming in today. It's been great having you as always. You're such a treat to have on the show, and I hope to see you
Don't make me blush.
soon. Hopefully next time we see you, you're ready to be a flank or an 8th man.
No,
I mean,
oh, man, that's not gonna happen ever,
mate.
mate. Flanker, yeah, definitely. 8th man, nah.
Don't know what we're gonna do with the height.
I'll go back to scrum off. What are you talking? Next time you see me, I'll be like this.
But it's been great having you here. Always some good laughs, some good knowledge from you. I hope you had a good time.
I did. It's always fun.
And then, as you guys will notice in this show, we finally have a logo. We've taken a lot of feedback from our fans regarding the sound. Everyone loved the setting, but the sound was an issue. We've done something about that. We hope you enjoy the sound this episode. And in the next episode, I'll be having a new guest on the show, and we'll be talking something different about rugby. I might get our founder of Sportycast on, Bossman Ziad Parker. So hopefully he can be on my next show and we can have some fun with him. But Phillip, thank you for coming, mate. It's always a pleasure having you here. Some good laughs, like I said.
It was a lot of fun. Great coffee. You know, I mean, coffee is very big in this country. I absolutely love the coffee here. Great chats. Gonna have a nice little braai now. Or as our Australian counterparts say, gonna have a bit of a barbie, you know.
Yeah, we're gonna have a
but
braai.
we're gonna have a wee bit of a barbie.
We're Safas and we're gonna have a braai. So guys, on that note, please guys, comment below. Please go subscribe to our YouTube channel. Leave a like, leave a comment. Leave us a comment on what you'd like us to talk about in the next show or something like that. Go follow us on Instagram. And then next time we'll see what's happening. But now, Phillip and I, we're gonna have a good old South African braai. Let's go, mates. Some lovely meat here. You know, and this is a great way to finish off a fantastic show.
Yeah, braai is a great way to finish or start anything.
Some lovely South African burgers on a Lekker Weber braai. You know, not a barbecue. We're gonna have a real braai.
A braai with coals, you know, like a proper South African.
Proper Safa braai.
A proper South African.
Right, guys, that's it from us. Until next time, hope you enjoyed the show. Cheers, guys. Thanks, Phillip.